Lowlife is an indie crime drama that just came out recently on video on demand. And the big thing they're trying to do is sell it, was comparing it to Pulp Fiction. And since Pulp Fiction is probably my favorite movie of all time, I thought I'd give it a shot. And to make it a short story, this is no Pulp Fiction.
Why do you have a swastika tattoo on your face?
Here we go. What are you mixed up in?
Here's what you're gonna do for me.
I got 2 strikes and a swastika tattoo. Ain't no way I'm helping you kidnap some poor girl. You remember from Greenleaf? Remember how many pieces of him they found? That was Teddy being chill, man.
That's Teddy.
Being chill.
So this was directed by Ryan Prowse, and it features a bunch of douchebags that you really shouldn't care about, and their sordid lives coming together, and everything goes wrong, and you know what it is. But I think the biggest thing is with Pulp Fiction, even though they're kind of all bad guys, they're all likable. Even though they're murdering someone, they're likable. And none of these characters in Lowlife are likable. I mean, not a single one has anything to enjoy about them. They all have horrible faults and they all do horrible things. And ones that aren't really that horrible are just kind of bland. And it's just that the idea is that there's this guy and he's like a gangster. They don't really explain what he does he either owns a restaurant, but what he actually does, he don't seem like he deals drugs or anything, but I guess he seems like low money. But the big thing he does is that he has friends that work in ICE, and they kidnap immigrants that are trying to live in America, and then take them to his dungeon and cut them all up and sell their organs. And if they have a young girl, he prostitutes them, and that's like what so you think there that you're not very likable. And that character is played by Mark Burnham. And I mean, he's the only character that's kind of entertaining, like with how ridiculous he is. But then you have the reason that the Pulp Fiction comes in is that for the first third of the movie or so, it's out of order, and you have you feature one set of characters, then you see. And then when they collide with another set, you see that character is beginning, and you see, and then they collide, they see the other character is set up. But I think in Pulp Fiction, the whole movie was kind of like that. But in this one, once they hit a certain point in the movie, then it's completely linear, and the viewpoint doesn't change at all. So you could say that the beginning of the story is kind of cut into 4 parts. He said that Mark Burnham, the guy that's cutting up immigrants to sell on the black market. Then you have Ricardo Adam Zarate as El Monstro. He's like a luchador. And some stuff is kind of cool. It gets kind of corny where he's from a long line of luchadors. And he's the smallest one ever, but he still proved himself in the ring and still he did something wrong. And that the teddy bear, the Mark Burnham character, took him in, and now he's the muscle for him. And with him, it's kind of he is helping this guy prostitute underage girls, and he doesn't seem to have a problem with it. But then there's also stuff where he's supposedly married to the guy's daughter, but then there's stuff there that makes sense later. But whatever. But she's pregnant, and there's a thing that he kind of, whenever he goes crazy, he blanks out and hear a ringing, and then it comes back, and he's a couple minutes later, and he has to figure out what he did during that time, and it kind of works. It's kind of interesting, but at one point, he is about to get shot, and he gets a buzzing noise, and then he wakes up and he's holding a hand with a gun in it. And there's the other guy who was fighting is nowhere around. And, I mean, that's kind of funny, but at the same time, I would have liked to seen more kind of luchador action. Because, I mean, if you see a luchador, you think it'd be some wrestling or something in it. And there really isn't. Even, towards the end, when you're having, a climax, they're like, you know, almost more featuring some of the other characters, and you see him fighting guys away from the camera, kind of like you see a little bit of it, but not really. And I think I would have liked more of that, you know, even though it's not trying to be an action movie. The third story features Nikki McCow. I'm not sure about that spelling, how you say that, as Crystal, and she is the owner of a hotel where everything's kind of going down. Like, that's where the last time he showed in the beginning of the movie where they kidnapped a bunch of the immigrants. And she has a husband who is dying of organ failure, and she's trying to get an organ from the teddy bear character. And there's a lot of shenanigans with that. And, you know, there was some brutal stuff. Again, with her character, with almost every character, almost all the brutal stuff, it kind of happens like off screen, then you see the aftermath, and that's fine. But I mean, again, like, her character is not likable because she wants to use her daughter that she gave to Teddy Bear when she was, and they want to use her organ, like, and it's just, of course, the other character is the one that's married to the luchador, so it's obvious it's not the guy's daughter. And it's a lot of shenanigans in this movie. And then the final one is and the last two are Randy and Keith, played by John Oswald and Shay Ogobana. And they're kind of like, the one guy is getting out of prison, and he kind of went to prison for something the other guy did, kind of. But when you pick him up, finally, he's a white guy, but they're best friends, the white guy and the black guy. And the white guy has a giant swastika tattoo on his face. And this is like, any of the comedy in the film kind of comes from these pair. And here you can see again the Pulp Fiction thing, where they're trying to link the black guy and the white guy together. And this was to have a great repartee. And again, like, you can't really match Pulp Fiction. But in this, I mean, yeah, the guy's kind of funny, like, but they never really explain exactly how he got the tattoo, other than say, you think I chose this? So I guess, to survive, he had to join a gang, and the gang made this big tattoo on his face. But they really, it's like, so much of this movie, including the tattoo and really everything else, is like over the top. Like, it gets unrealistic. And because, I mean, yeah, they do prison tattoos, and yeah, for the white gangs, they do swastika tattoos. But, I mean, you don't see a lot of the ones, like, you never see one, like, gigantic on the face like that. Like, I mean, even if you do on the face, it'd be smaller. Because, I mean, it doesn't look like a tattoo at all. It looks like a sticker they put on. And, that's, because the actor isn't going to get that tattooed on his face. But it didn't look realistic at all. Because, like, I mean, it goes, like, in the crinkle with his eyebrows and stuff, and down his nose, and ends, like, at his lips, and, like the way to actually tattoo that would be so painful, and because, I mean, everything is completely straight, and doesn't look like a tattoo mark. It's not scratchy at all. Like, so it just, some reason why I kept seeing that, it kept kind of bothering me that it's how unrealistic it was. But, I mean, there are some funny jokes about that, and it's important for things to happen with the character later on. But what happens is that the one guy that's been out, he's like now an accountant, and he was doing accounting for a teddy bear, and that he's been stealing money from him. So now the teddy bear wants them to kidnap the girl, the wife of the wrestler, and the daughter of the Crystal character, and then they all come together at a hotel, and then the shit breaks loose, and then you have a lot of stuff goes on. And some of the moments like this, like once actually they get past the artificial kind of like structure that the beginning of the movie had, which I felt like it was just trying to be too much like Pulp Fiction. Like once they get to it and they just have an actual movie, I think the movie does get better. Like, it has some entertaining moments, even though, like, again, stuff is unrealistic. Like, a person gets shot in the arm, it's like, oh, it's only my arm. But, of course, then he dies from bleeding out. And, like, the Monstro character is trying to, like, tie a tourniquet and can't, like, It's kind of, I don't get the joke in it. The one really played for a joke, but the one really played for the serious note either. It just falls somewhere in between. So it's just like, oh, okay. And I kept thinking that they're going to have something like, I thought he was dead, like, later he would come out, like, he was going to, like, in the climax, he was going to come out and he was still alive. Like, I thought you were dead. Oh, no. But no, they didn't do anything like that. And, you know, it's just, there's a lot of, it's just not a great movie, but it's not horrible. You know, I mean, it's definitely watchable. I think that they shouldn't try to compare it to one of the best movies ever. And I wish that some of the characters had more likable aspects to them. I mean, I know the movie is called Lowlife, so they're all low lives. But I wish there was, while they're bad people, if there are other moments with them that they're kind of likable. Like, I never really was rooting for any of them, except, you know, I wanted the teddy bear character to be killed. But I mean, other than that, I didn't really care what happened to any of them. But I mean, the ending they do pull off, I mean, I like the ending, you know, and I like what they did with it. So I mean, it's just it's kind of like, I can't recommend it, but it's not bad. I'll probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10. It's not something I'd like tell you to go out of your way to see it, but it can be enjoyable. I think it just has some stupid moments and some really unbelievable things, and the story structure is kind of annoying, but it's not bad. But thanks for watching, and check out the video playlist where I'm ahead, or subscribe to me over here. Thanks.